I woke up with a pretty decent amount of snow today, kind of a surprise. So I guess now is as good a time as any to build an airplane. Yeah, always fun here in Western Washington to get a little snow in the lowlands for the kids. Anyway, you probably saw in the time lapse here, we got the leading edge skins on and the fuel tanks in. Quite a bit of work. Thanks, big help to my buddy Terry. He came out and helped me get started on this. He's helped me start on this one here and turned me loose. And of course, the very next one I damaged. It's really thin aluminum. Big shout out to Cub Crafters. They sent me, as you can see right here, got a little kink in it. Very next day, I got a skin and got that going again. Yeah, so we taped the ribs on, got them square, got masking tape on the front. I didn't want to leave that tape in, so I actually put these on twice. Drilled them first with the number 40 for a smaller hole, pulled them off, pulled the tape off, and then put them on with the clamps and drilled with the number 30. And it's turned out perfect. The rivets are perfectly straight. Skins are tight and perfectly matched. Really excited about that. That was a lot of work. This video might be kind of long, and I'm probably going to miss some things because I've got a lot of time into these two wings, just in the leading edge skins, wingtips, and fuel tanks. These are the clamps that we use to put the skins on that help us. Cub Crafters apparently made a bunch of these, and some builders made these. And we don't hold on to them. It's a pay it forward deal. So you finish with them and you send them to the next builder. Kind of a cool community thing. Anyway, so the skins went on. That was about at least a day's worth of work for each one of these wings for me. It's like I said, I did it twice. I didn't want to leave the tape in the wings. Got the landing lights and in each wing, all flush riveted. And there's also some methyl chrylate glue in there. And got the wingtips on, these carbon fiber wingtips. They're riveted and also methyl chrylate glued. Got this the number 13 rib installed. This is not pre-drilled like the rest of them, so you have to carefully measure and drill these, along with the trailing edge rib here and this brace. There's a measurement here that's in the back of the instructions. I think it's 12 5/8. There's a tip off Dave Embry's Build Tips that mentions that. So to set that distance worked out great. Again, don't follow this is just what I did and what worked for me. I'm an amateur. So anyway, there's other people out there that are a great source of information. Got the cap strips installed, number 1, number 3, and the bottom cap strip for number 1. These are all drilled and countersunk for these flush rivets and the tank extension skin. There's rivets also that go into the spar, which is really nerve-wracking because like I said, if you nick that spar, you've got big problems. Really nice guy got a hold of me online or messaging. I'm not really sure how he got a hold of me or whatever, but he ended up loaning me this tool, sent it in the mail. And this is a kind of a template gauge. You can see the holes you set that in the spar, and drill through those holes so that you get it in the right spot, not damage your spar. So I really appreciate that. Thanks. I'll be sending that back to that guy along with those wing clamps to the next builder. So anyway, got the skins, the cap strips on, and then went to the fuel tanks. Fuel tanks are kind of a bear because these stainless steel straps and bolts are not long enough to get started. So you have to use a lot of weight and all the tricks in your tool bag. Use some wire and some pliers to get the thread started. Well, once you get the thread started, it's snug enough to where you can't move the tank around anymore. So it might take a couple times. There's the number 2 false rib is, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's clearanced for these interconnects. So the interconnects don't rub against it in between each tank. And I found that if you don't get these tanks in there centered front to back, or the correct distance front to back, this one rubbed on that. And I was prepared for that because online some people were clearancing that out. Well, I didn't want to clearance it out anymore. And so I just moved this tank around. You can see if you get it in the right spot, it follows the contour of the rib perfectly. And this one went in, I didn't have any problems, and I was like kind of frustrated that one was. Well, it turns out if you just move it in the right spot, the clearance is out just fine. And another bit of advice, they tell you to put the felt liner on these tank straps early in the process. Probably not a bad idea because these are really sharp and end up with, you know, that old saying, blood, sweat, and tears. Well, yeah, there you go. Anyway, I got quite a few cuts on my hands from working on this stuff, so maybe save yourself some Band-Aids and put those on first. Another interesting thing about these fuel tanks is that you probably saw in a previous video that these drag wires that we use to square and tension the wing also are in this bay. Well, they go through the fuel tanks. Well, to install these, you square it and then you tension it with a scale, and we can't do that with the tanks in there, and we can't put the tanks in there with those in there. So what they have you do is you measure the amount of thread from this block to the tip and write the distance on here so you can loosen these up. These aren't they aren't Loctited or torque sealed initially, so you can loosen these nuts up and pull them out of the bay, slide the tank on the big wire, pull that one out of the bay, get the tank set, reinstall the wires, and then just snug up the nut to that measurement, and that'll give you the tension that you previously had. So kind of a cool trick. A little bit of a tip here. Don't write that number here, because as you're focusing on getting these really difficult nuts started and all these things going on, your belly will rub off your marker there and you have to start all over. I had to do that one twice because I got these tanks in and couldn't find my numbers, and anyway, kind of a silly thing. So yeah, I guess we got tank skins. This is unscripted, so sorry if I missed something. Lights. Oh yeah, and the stall warning switch here. This is not cut into the wing. They give you this template to wrap around, and so you can put that in the right spot and trace. And it was kind of fun cutting that out, got that in there. So that's the stall warning switch as the wing reaches a critical angle of attack. That switch will energize a horn in the cockpit to let you know your impending stall is coming. I opted for the Aoa Angle of Attack. We got these 2 tubes here that run out to a pitot tube in the wing. There's the bracket for it right there. And that pitot tube, Aoa tube, will progressively tell you in the cockpit your angle of attack. So you have kind of a more precise, accurate awareness of where you are in the stall. Of course, feel for your airplane is probably the best way to know when you're flying stall where the stall is. But another tool in the tool bag, I thought that was pretty cool, so I added that. I'm not sure what else to tell you about these wings. The wires coming out here for the nav and strobe. Got our beautiful boot cowl here. I think the next time you'll see this setup, they'll be covered. These will all be covered in fabric, except for the fuel tank bays. We've got metal. I don't know if you can see those over there on the shelf. The fuel tank bays, so that they're serviceable, have a metal cover on them. The rest is fabric. So there's all these nut plates in here, so that screws can go into those. You have to add 1, 2, 3, 4 of those after you get all this installed to make sure they're in the right spot. But yeah, that's it. So we'll get to covering and painting, and yeah, pretty excited. Coming along really fast. A little faster than I expected. People have asked me how much time I have into it yet. I haven't added up the time. I've got probably, I don't know, about a month's worth of work into this thing. Some nights are 2 hours, some days are 12 hours. So I guess you can kind of do the math of how much time. It's a lot more time than it looks maybe, but coming along well. Anyway, on to the next step.